Grab your cleaning supplies and hide your relics. Apple has a new sci-fi mystery, and I gotta say I was blown away by the first two episodes. With fantastic performances by David Oyelowo and Rashida Jones combined with a fully realized world, I'm praying this show can maintain its quality and become the new sci-fi mystery hit I've been begging for. For those of you who are familiar with my channel, I often do deep dives on different shows, but I'm shaking things up and this is going to be a little different than my traditional breakdowns. Instead of a recap, this is going to focus solely on the different theories, clues, and mysteries. I've also left timestamps below so you can see all the topics I'll be discussing. Silo is based off a series of books which I haven't read, so there won't be any spoilers there. So any theories that emerge are based solely off the show and not the books. Let's get ready to go outside. In episode 1, before Sheriff Becker arrests himself for saying he wants to go outside, we see him preparing his room, knowing that he'll never be back. One such preparation involves unscrewing the panel to the ventilation shaft. We never see why he does this, but my guess to hide the hard drive and papers which came into his possession in episode 2, the same hard drive which led his wife to go outside. It can be assumed that if Becker gets his wish and Juliette Nichols becomes the next sheriff, she'll get his apartment, which would put her in a prime spot to discover this drive. But how will she know to look into the vent? In the sheriff's office, he leaves a note which states double the flowers in front of the mirror. This is a reference to the flowers in his apartment, and since Juliette may be the next sheriff, suggests this note could be for her. Perhaps the note is some sort of code word that will lead Juliette to find whatever is in the vent. Part of the main mystery of the show is what exactly lies outside the silo. Allison so believes that the powers that be are hiding the truth that she sacrifices herself to find out what happens. 2 years later, her husband will do the same thing. The Judicial would have us believe the outside is poisonous. Those who go out to clean the sensor on the video camera last roughly 3 minutes before they collapse and die. Before she's sent out, Allison said she'd clean the sensor if what she saw was beautiful and green, and that's exactly what she does, but it's only when Becker goes out that we see what he sees. The landscape is totally different than what the silo dwellers see on their screen. So we can't take anything we see here at face value. What the dwellers see could be digitally manipulated, but this also means what Becker sees could be too. What if this helmet is just a screen as well, something devised to encourage him to clean the sensor? After all, Becker did mention that historically, almost those who were sent outside to clean claimed they would not do it, yet they all do. Becker also takes off his helmet, which this one lady makes a really interesting remark stating, "Has anyone ever done that before?" Notice how Becker's POV, you can't see his wife's dead body, but the crowd can see it. It's only when he takes off his helmet that he crawls toward his dead wife. This would suggest that when he's wearing that helmet, he's seeing a lie, and only when his helmet is off does he see the truth. But the most damning piece of evidence comes when Allison finds a file on the hard drive called Jane Carmody Cleaning. This is a video file from Silo year 97, and we only see it through the reflection on her glasses, but if you line it up with what Becker sees, it's the same exact video, meaning that what Becker sees is the same thing Jane Carmody saw decades ago. This would suggest that every cleaner is given the same fabricated video in an effort to get them to clean. The big question of the show is, what is the silo? And that's probably the main mystery that will likely spur the entire series. All we know is that it's a giant 140 floor plus megastructure dug deep into the earth to protect humanity from the poison of the outside world. At least that's what the Judicial would want you to believe. We don't know much about these guys, but they seem to pull all the strings in Silo and want to maintain the status quo. We really don't know anything about what lies beyond the silo. For all we know, we could be in space, on another planet, in the far future or past, watching a sadistic experiment, or this could all be a simulation. Regardless, this is the main mystery I'll be looking for clues on as the season progresses. Perhaps the most important item in the first 2 episodes is this mysterious hard drive. All we know from George is that it was found under a carpet in someone's closet. We, the viewer, don't get to see much of what's on it. In fact, Allison and George spend an entire day combing through it and still have a lot more to go. I've already mentioned that Jane Carmody cleaning video in my What's Outside section, so the other important info we get here are the blueprints of the silo itself, primarily the existence of a secret tunnel buried beneath the concrete slab at the bottom of the silo. This is what George was going to explore in episode episode 2 and where we leave Juliette at the end of the episode. And while we're at it, if you're liking the content so far and want me to continue doing Silo videos, please be sure to like and subscribe. 2 years after Allison's death, George's body is found having fallen off the rails on the 120th floor. His girlfriend Juliette believes it to be murder, and from what we know, it's likely this has something to do with his exploits underneath the giant digging device. Remember that George found the blueprints to the silo, plus who knows what else he found on that hard drive. He also promised Juliette not to tell her if he went on that dangerous mission in search of the secret tunnel, later writing her a note saying he found what he was looking for, so it's entirely possible he already made his way down there and found out what was beyond. It's highly likely, considering what George was investigating, that he was murdered, and if I were to guess who it was, likely this member of the Judicial, Sims. The one scene we see him in has absolutely no relevance to the plot. You could take it out entirely and it wouldn't change anything, so I think this was shoehorned in there to give us a little preview. 140 years ago, the silo had its own civil war, which pitted the rebels against the founders. The founders wound up victorious, but in the process the rebels destroyed hard drives, burned books, and pretty much anything that happened before this date. Or at least that's what the powers that be would want you to believe. Any quote-unquote relic from the before times is considered contraband, and possession of such items will get you sent down to the mines. My guess, it wasn't the rebels that erased this history, it was the founders, and they could rewrite history to make them look like the heroes. And did anyone else find it weird that the moment they regained their freedom was the 6 minute and 6 second past 6 o'clock, aka 666? Coincidence? One of the interesting things I noticed was when Mayor Ruth looks at these past mayoral ledgers. These books indicate important events in Silo's history. She tells Deputy Marnes that she's worked her way up to Silo year 97, which coincidentally is the same year of the Jane Carmody cleaning video. Now here's where it gets even more interesting. If you stop the frame right before she flips the page, you can make out September 13th, year 97, and yes, there we see Jane Carmody cleaning. From what I can make out are the words successfully completed and something that looks like the phrase unexplained beyond normal CD levels. Now if you're better at deciphering cursive than I am, please let me know what you think it says in the comments. There's not much we know about the Judicial, which seems to be the most powerful entity in Silo. According to Allison, there's a conspiracy that they never removed her birth control in the first place, since it's in the Judicial's best interest to have obedient dwellers and not ones like her who ask questions. The Pact seems to be the governing body of rules that both the Judicial and Sheriff's Office enforce. In episode 1, the mayor reminds Becker that the Pact allows for a hearing if someone is misheard stating they want to go outside, but in Allison's case, since so many people heard it, it won't be possible. And what's next for Juliette? The last we see of her, she's hanging from a rope over the water pit beneath the digging machine. My guess is that this attempt will be in vain, and the door leading to this tunnel, if she even gets to see it, is either locked or buried under the water, in which case she'll need to go back up top and find another way to open it. Narratively, I also think she'll end up as sheriff, or at least that's what I think the writers have started to set up. It would also give her more power in uncovering the mystery of Silo. There's also the mystery of this video camera. Will she be able to get it to work? And if so, what will she find? But now I want to turn it over to you. I want to hear your thoughts and theories in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Please be sure to like and subscribe, and for more bad takes, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at ThinkStoryYT. Until next time, remember,